Welcome to another video. In today's video, we are testing out the Loner Sword Soul deck in the Synchro XYZ Festival. I needed to up my Synchro monster count, and this deck seemed pretty solid for once. Konami actually gave us a pretty sweet Synchro deck. Our opponent also playing Sword Soul, but they're playing their own version. This budget version that they give you for the Loner deck does not have the Ashuna, doesn't have the Tenyis. So we're going to negate their Moyi past our turn. Now, this deck's actually good. It's good. It's not great. There's definitely some questionable inclusions. They're playing a lot of Sword Soul cards I did not know about because they're bad. Sword Soul Strife. There's a bunch of other ones. You'll see them in the video. But opponent blacking out, popping our monsters, and then using a Call by the Grave. We're not doing too hot right now. We're not doing hot at all. We tried to resummon our monster from the graveyard, but opponent going to banish it. Does negate on their turn as well because of the effect of Call by the Grave. But we're not in a great spot. Our opponent's going to try and Sacred Summit, get their Moyi back. We're going to banish in response. Now, we're going to keep playing this game, and I think we're going to keep trying. We're not going to give up. But one other thing to mention, yesterday's video, I announced the giveaway. So make sure you go watch that video. If you comment on this video, that's an entry in the giveaway. Even if you commented on yesterday's video, if you comment today's video as well and you're subscribed, that's an entry in the giveaway. Opponent is beating us with the Ashuna. What are we going to do? We're going to have some sort of amazing Sword Soul top deck here. And we draw the Ecclesia. That is pretty good. Let's banish. We got a Sword Soul card in hand. Opponent going to max C. We were going to get the Moyi, but instead we're going to get the Taya. We don't want our opponent drawing a billion cards, so we're going to slow down our turn here. Let him draw one, attack over his monster. If our Taya gets killed, we can special summon him again on our next turn with the Sacred Summit. Opponent passing with no actions. That is what we like to see. Let's get activating the Taya. Special summon that Sword Soul token. We actually get 2 tokens because of the effect of the Strife, in case our opponent negated with an Imperm. Now, the other thing I'll say about this deck, this is a Loner deck, but it actually has a bunch of the really powerful interactive spells. It's got Lightning Storm, it's got Imperm. I don't believe it has Ash Blossom, but hey, I guess Konami wanted to mix it up. Reduce the number of search negates. We're going to special summon the Strategist from the graveyard. Now, the reason we're doing that is we have one in hand. We can still activate, and we can burn our opponent for 1,200. So, opponent going to Nibiru. We tried to pass the battle, opponent Nibiru. We held this in hand, giving us a chunky Nibiru token, but this is still main phase 1, which means we still have our combat. So let's special summon our Sword Soul from hand, make the Supreme Sovereign, attack over that Meteor. Now this deck even has, I'll show you the extra deck here, it has 3 copies of every Sword Soul and a bunch of Baxias and Yazis, and the Xiaofeng. So that's pretty solid. This is a solid extra deck. Missing the Baron de Fleur, but not going to complain. It is a Loner deck. You still have the decision point of whenever you have a rank 10, if you go into Sinister Sovereign or if you go into Supreme Sovereign. You saw my other video. You know how I feel. I think Supreme Sovereign's better almost always. Now there are going to be some situations where you want to make the Sinister Sovereign, but almost always I think the Supreme Sovereign's better. You saw me make Sinister Sovereign just then. That was because I was hoping that I could Synchro Summon, draw a card, and make the Supreme Sovereign as well. So, glad we got to keep that on the field. And our opponent's Nibiru token is so big that we got lethal here. Alright, pretty solid game from the Loner deck. At the end of the video, I'll have the full deck list. But for now, let's show you a couple more games. We're going up with the Sword Soul deck from the event. And look at this hand. This is almost indistinguishable from a Tier 1 Sword Soul deck on ladder. Other than this Golden Sword Soul and Waterfall of the Dragon Summit, that is not a card. Waterfall of Dragon Soul, sorry. That is not a card I see people run. Second, trap effects at search are a bit slow for competitive play, but hey, you know what? Sword Soul is really strong, and this card is a good substitute. Let's special summon the Strategist here, get our token, and this is just classic Sword Soul. You make the Supreme Sovereign, you make the Grandmaster, you burn your opponent for 1,200, and you pass. So we got this Waterfall. It has 2 interesting effects. one of which is to search a worm. The other one lets you send monsters from your hand or field to draw cards equal to the number sent. That is something that we should keep in mind, is a possibility. Now, I did see a hang when I summoned my Grandmaster, so I expect they have an Ash Blossom. We're going to banish the Ecclesia. It will be negated on our turn as well, so that is something to be aware of. Opponent summoning a Vishuda and passing with one set back row. We're keeping them under control for now. Let's summon the Taya, and opponent has the Blackout. Now, because my Ecclesia is negated, I don't want to activate it right now. I'm worried that, well, I can't activate it because it's negated. And I don't want to activate the Dragon Souls because I think that my opponent's going to Ash it. And I want to save it for a turn where I'm going to Ecclesia and Waterfall at the same time. Basically just so that if they have multiple Ashes in hand, they can only negate one. Opponent's going to Blackout, pop our two monsters that can be destroyed. So that's going to go through. We still got our Supreme Sovereign though. Supreme Sovereign going to attack. We made the shitty Sword Soul. The other level 10, he would have got popped there for sure. Alright, pass back to the opponent. Opponent summoning another Ecclesia. We're going to let that go. Opponent summoning the Mo Yi, and now we're going to negate with the Imperm. Gotta wait. Negate the Mo Yi. Opponent still has their normal summon. But we're just going to hope. Hope that opponent doesn't have another Sword Soul that they can normal, and they're setting a back row and passing to us. Now I got jebaited here, I think. I'm like, they set this here. The only reason people do this is if they have an Imperm. They want to Imperm your set back row by negating your monster. So I'm like, alright, he's got Imperm. I got an Imperm now too, but I'm not going to activate this if it's going to get Impermed. I'm going to be patient. We're going to be patient. So we're going to set this back row. Hopefully try and get our opponent to try and negate our Supreme Sovereign. And then we'll activate this and activate this on the same turn. Opponent special summoning the Ashuna. Passing to us. Alright, that is fine. We're going to draw here. Sword Soul Assessment. Let's activate the Dragon Summit. Opponent going to Ash Blossom from hand. We knew they had the Ash Blossom, but maybe this isn't an Imperm after all. Ash Blossoming, negating our effect to search for a Sword Soul. Let's use the Ecclesia. And now opponent actually was called by the grave, so opponent going to call by the grave Ecclesia, but they made a big mistake here. Because they banished Ecclesia, it's going to trigger the effect of Supreme Sovereign, and we're going to get to banish a card from their field and graveyard, which means we got lethal on them. So, pretty fun game for Sword Soul. I mean, hey, we had a lot of interaction. Alright, let's go on to the next game. Alright, we got pretty solid Sword Soul hand. We are only able to make one rank 10, but you know what, we'll make do. Special Summon Strategist, set 2 back row. We got that Waterfall. We got that Sword Soul Strife. Let's burn our opponent for 1200. Pass the turn. Now, probably a good argument I should have just kept this Strife in hand. I don't think it's very good on the field. And we could discard it with the Strategist. Opponent banishing a card from our graveyard. That is interesting. And opponent banishing another card from our graveyard. Both copies of Call by the Grave in hand. And they're going to Raigeki. And we're going to try and activate Waterfall Dragon Summit. If we send a monster from our hand to the graveyard, we could send this Strategist. We'll have a monster to banish with Supreme Sovereign. Otherwise, we don't have anything to banish. We don't have cards in the graveyard. So we're going to try here. Accidentally add one more monster to hand. An opponent's going to Ash Blossom anyway. Probably would have Ashed in either case. So we don't have a card in the graveyard. Opponent going to banish our Supreme Sovereign. This is a sad day for us. Supreme Sovereign getting negated, getting banished. Opponent going to Monster Reborn, summon our own monster from the graveyard. This is not ideal. Now, we could have activated this Sword Soul Strife, but it's not going to do anything. Not going to do anything at all. Sitting there useless. We draw Blackout here. We can activate to special summon the Strategist, but I forgot. I forgot he'd been negated because goddamn Call by the Grave negates for 2 turns. So our Sword Soul Strategist is negated, and I am so embarrassed that I scoop here. But you know what? Maybe we could have lived. This is a bad lesson. You gotta learn it from me. Don't give up, even if your opponent steals your Supreme Sovereign. Alright, let's do one more game. Now there was one other sad piece of news today. Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG released their ban list, and they banned our boy Hulk of Fibrax. That means Hulky is banned everywhere. There is nowhere you can play Hulk of Fibrax. He's gone for good. Let's special summon the Mo Yi. get the tie revealed in hands, make that token, special summon the Grandmaster, special summon, get the search effect, get the draw, chain block with the Moyi. You love to see it. Get that Grandmaster, drawing the Lightning Storm with the Moyi and searching the Strategist. Let's special summon Strategist, make ourselves the best boy, Supreme Sovereign, summoning him in attack mode. No fear. Burn our opponent for 1200. Pass turn. We got Blackout. We got Waterfall. Opponent is playing Blue Eyes, being a complete Chad. You know what? I kind of want to play Blue Eyes. I'm going to give Blue Eyes a shot in this Synchro XYZ Festival. I think it's going to be fun. So tune in probably tomorrow or maybe the day after, and I'll be playing Blue Eyes. Let's negate. And the reason we're negating is so we get the banish effect from the Supreme Sovereign. We can banish his egg from the graveyard, banish his Blue Eyes alternative dragon from the field. So we get to keep all our monsters. And opponent's done. That Blue Eyes got fucking messed up and he's done. He even waited. He time limit won. He just waited till the timer ran out. Now that is a very Seto Kaiba move. All right, let's go check out this loner deck list. All right, here is the full loner deck list, and you know what? I'm mostly impressed. Like, this is Konami saying, hey, you know, this deck you're gonna be able to win some games. You got some pretty strong cards in here. It's not the best it could be, but it's gonna make for some fun games. And you know, that's all we can ask from Konami. They're not gonna give us a tier 1 deck list. They're gonna give you a budget list and say, hey, you know what? If you want to play this deck because it's fun, you build it yourself. So you know what? It's not bad. Not bad for especially for this festival. Throwing in, you know, all these synchros, all the different levels, I think it's pretty good. Now you don't usually see people playing Auspice, but maybe in this festival you would. 3 copies Emergence. Yeah, 3 copies Moyi, 3 copies Taya, even 3 Ecclesia. Like, this is good. This is a solid list. You're playing a couple copies of random stuff. Yakuza, Lord of the Eight Thunders. I don't think this is a card you'd really want to play, but interesting art, and you know, it's a worm, so you can discard it. So not bad, not bad. Even got a little Monster Reborn, Harpy's Feather Duster action, and hey, look, good piece of interaction here. 2 Call by the Graves, 2 Imperms. Hey, you know what? The only real changes you'd probably do if you're playing this for real is take out the Auspice, take out these boys, put in some Ash Blossoms, maybe swap out some of these traps for some more Imperms, and hey, call it a day. So it's pretty good. All right, hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to leave a comment and be subscribed. You subscribe, you leave a comment, that's an entry in the Simp King raffle. Hey, all right, have a good night.